You hear the quiet bubble of people in the background. Anticipation of what's to come.
It's such a great spot being there on the start line and watching these rowers take off out of the blocks. As we said, the Diamond Challenge Sculls, Trevor Jones from Canada, and here on screen, Tobias Schroder from Great Britain.
Yes, should have said Peterborough Rowing Club Canada, because some people might be confused Peterborough Rowing Club Britain. So yes, no, it's the Canadian Peterborough. 10th. So he was Trevor Jones 10th at the 2022 World Championships. So real pedigree here on the sculler from Peterborough.
Great to see the Canadian team here and competing at Henley Regatta. We normally get a couple of the major international teams coming and participating in the event. Last year we had the Australians here en masse, but this year the Canadians were in town, which is great to see, as Trevor Jones there just with maybe half a canvas lead in this very early stage of the Diamond Challenge Sculls.
But Tobias has got form as well. This isn't just an international athlete against a club athlete. I was chatting to Paul Stannard, the GB men's head coach earlier, saying he's got his eye on Tobias, and this should be quite a close race, we hope. We're slightly behind, so I think those crews are pretty much neck and neck at the moment. Might be a few feet in it, but nothing more than that.
As we see there, Schroder, who you just mentioned, part of Paul Stannard's sculling squad for Great Britain, representing Leander Club. Really lovely display of sculling.
Really relaxed, his face is really relaxed, really controlled and composed.
And Trevor Jones has that really distinctive style, quite upright, not a particularly sort of long stroke. He's not, you know, really overreaching. Just really stays within his length.
It's like a quad. It's almost looks like a quad athlete's kind of technique, isn't it?
Yes. Whereas you see the body swing of Schroder on the left-hand side of your screen, he's a lot more active with the body through the stroke. Whereas
it's really stable, isn't he? Trevor's just moving up and down. Yeah. You know, there's no wobbling around his shoulders, and his arms are always. It's really consistent.
Yes, and sort of slightly higher rate, and just keeps the boat sort of ticking along, much like a quad. That's a really good observation.
And compare the two scullers. So Tobias is sculling at 32, 33 strokes a minute, and Trevor's a pip or two higher than that at 34, 35 as we go along.
And Andrea Proska from the Canadian Women's Aid, who was commentating with me yesterday, she said that they call Trevor Jones the water spider.
I'm not sure you should be saying that.
I'm assuming that's a name of endearment, not not some kind of sleigh.
Beautiful view down the course, the temple in the background, and up the Hampton Valley behind. You can see all the pleasure crews going up and down towards, as the day goes on. We're just coming up to lunchtime now, but in the afternoon it's particularly busy as people come out to watch and take part in this great event. Trevor's starting to build a bit of a lead here. But Tobias not letting him get away. He's still 33, 34 strokes a minute. Trying to keep a slightly longer stroke, trying to keep in contact. So they've just gone through the 40 marker. That was that yellow lollipop you saw left-hand side. So they're about halfway now. Forley to the finish is 60 feet longer than from the start to Forley, so they're through halfway. Trevor with his slightly more punchy stroke, I describe it, 33, 34 strokes a minute. You got a couple of lengths ahead now?
Yeah, it looks like he's got a couple of lengths here, just really easing into his rhythm, starting to control this race.
to yesterday, where some of the scullers are finding a little bit more challenging part of the course, because the river's probably its widest part here. But Pleasure Craft on the eastern bank, there's a little bit of wash coming across, and also the wind comes across, a bit of crosshead. When it gusts, it comes around to more of the crosswind. So this is the bit, if anywhere, the scullers will find more challenging, although scullers of their pedigree shouldn't find it too difficult. I'm sure they're used to the tricky conditions.
Oh, a little bit of a wobble there, just as you said that, from Trevor Jones from Canada. So it is tricky water. I was talking to one of the Australian entrants in this event from Melbourne Uni, who's a lightweight rower actually competing in the Diamond Challenge Sculls, and he was telling me this morning just how tough he's been finding the conditions here, particularly being in the single scull. But I guess when he compares that to his home waters in Melbourne, particularly as they go out into towards the bay, it's probably on par with some of the difficulty that he navigates on a daily basis in training anyway.
So when they're training on the Yarra, do they actually go out into the bay?
Yes, you can head all the way out towards the bridges and out towards the docks. So yeah, I guess depending how brave you are, you can head out into the bay, and certainly heard of athletes like Peter Anthony rowing from his home round on the bay up in through the docklands and up the river up to Melbourne University, so does the full loop from the bay.
Wow. But back to smoother conditions. So we're coming up to the regatta enclosure in the last 300-400 metres or so. Water's calming down. Still only 2 lengths probably in it. Tobias doing his absolute best still to try and catch up with Trevor, and he'll be getting lots of support as they come through as we look at the shot now, the enclosure on the right hand side, and obviously Leander is a local club. He'll be getting lots of cheers as he come down, lots of support. Just come through a wash there. You can see the boat bobbling around. It's quite tricky conditions for him to handle. He's doing a really good job there.
But don't you get a good understanding there of how narrow and how twitchy these boats are? They're only 14 kilos. Really, they're narrower than the rower, and incredibly close to the water there, and very, very touchy.
Yeah, it's a real art. Yeah.
Not one that I'm sure I mastered, Jim, but certainly these scullers doing a fantastic job down the course.
Not me, I've swimming a few times. Anyway, I'm sure there's someone who hasn't been swimming. Trevor, cracking view of his boat cutting to the water. It's really good view of the V-shaped wash as the bow cleaves to the water, and the way his back and his whole body moves in a consistent way, backwards and forwards, doing its least to disrupt the boat. And they come up to the last 10 strokes. So you can hear the applause in the background as these 2 scullers battle it out up to the finish.
And as they come up to the finish line, it will be a comfortable victory here for Trevor Jones, 25 years of age from Canada. No doubt this is forming part of his World Championship campaign. And coming up to the line now, Tobias Schroder, 24 years of age, from Leander and Great Britain. Not his day today.